once you separated yourself from that circle you grew up with, now you're associating with people that are like-minded, similar goals, right? What some of them you're trying to do what they're doing or vice versa. How much has that kind of helped your mindset?
Because Sean always said, never complain. Don't surround yourself with negative people. Don't, if people are calling you up being negative, just tell them like, dude, you got to go or something. Like, don't entertain it. So I think that's really big. Just staying around positive people, because if everyone I'm talking to is just positive, then it's just gonna reflect on me.
All right, welcome to True Talk. Got my man Ethan McKinney with us today. How we doing, Ethan?
Good. How you doing?
Awesome, dude. Are you nervous?
A little bit.
A little bit? This is your first time doing this?
No,
you were in here before.
Yeah, a couple years back.
It's a little different, though.
Yeah.
We're in all these lights, all these people, this fancy table.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's been a little bit of a change. But I appreciate you coming up. Now, you don't live up here anymore.
No, I live in Florida now.
Okay. How long you been down there?
About a little over a year and a half, I think, almost 2 years.
Yeah. You like it?
Yeah, I do.
What brought you down there? Work or trying to get away from here?
Pretty much work, just trying to try something new.
Yeah.
I know Sean had put in a suggestion, and I just followed through with it.
Yeah.
So, and I like it down there.
Yeah. Gotcha. And you, so you started with us, what, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
You were how old? You knew Sean from coaching? You at school with Trevor?
I played Little League with Trevor.
Okay.
Went to high school with Trevor, so I've known Sean since I was like 11 or 12.
Got it. Did he start recruiting you at 11? Because he's crazy like that. Or when did he first bring up this opportunity to you?
I always known he was doing like insurance just from Trevor. But I remember one time we were at like a Celtics game versus like the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
And he had just said something to me like, hey, when you turn 18, like I can get you a job and you can afford your own tickets. And that kind of just stuck with me.
Yeah.
So I remember when I turned 18, I was working at McDonald's at the time, but I did send him a text like, hey, I'll be turning 18 in a few months. I was still looking at that job. I had no idea what it was.
Okay.
I just remembered that he had brought that up to me.
You
so,
just heard you could buy your own Celtic tickets and you were in,
Exactly. I didn't know it was insurance or selling anything. I just heard a job, and I figured I'd give it a shot.
Got it. So prior to this, your only real job was McDonald's?
Yeah. I just worked at McDonald's for, I think, about a year or so, and that was all I did before this.
Got it. And just put it in perspective, last year you sold, what was it, 243,000, I believe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And would you say, I mean, were you full-time? How many hours were you working a week last year?
Maybe like 30, 40 hours.
30, 40? Okay.
Not really like super locked in.
Got it.
Kind of going with the flow.
Yeah,
almost,
kind of up and down.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's different because, McDonald's, you work there through school, college, or whatnot, and then you come here, and this is, it's a sales job. It's a grind. It's different than anything you've done in the past. What was it like when that first transition? Was it a shock to you, the type of work? Like, what was your thought when you first moved over?
When I first moved over, I wasn't really sure how it would work or anything. I remember the first few months were pretty rough. I wasn't that good. There was times where I'm like, wow, I honestly think I'd be making more money at McDonald's than right now. But it was really just me. I knew it took hard work, but I just didn't know what that hard work actually looked like. Because, the first year I was doing it on and off, still in school at the time. I didn't really ask for help or was around other agents. I was kind of just trying to figure it out on my own.
Okay.
So it just took me a lot longer to really get the hang of it. But once I started surrounding myself with other agents that were doing well, then I started to realize like what it actually looked like and what the hard work looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were in school, were you working with us when you were in school, or you were still at McDonald's at that point?
When I was working with here, I quit McDonald's before I got my license.
Got it. Okay.
But when I did get my license, I was still in college at the time.
Where were you studying in school?
I don't even know. I just was there. My mom wanted me to go. I think I was just doing the regular courses at first.
So you went because of your parents, or did you want to go to college?
I really never knew what I wanted to do. I just remember in high school when they were having all the college stuff, everyone was like, oh, I'm going here, I'm doing this, I'm taking this major.
Yeah.
And I was just really clueless. I didn't actually have an idea of what I wanted to do, but my mom was always talking about school since I was young, so I just knew I probably had to do that.
Gotcha.
But it's not like it was gonna come out of my pocket. I'm the one that was paying for it, so at the end of the day, it was really my decision, but
yeah,
I just decided that I didn't really want to do that.
Gotcha. So you just kind of thought like that's what I'm supposed to do. Like a lot of people, right? Like we get that kind of condition. You go to school, you go to college, and then you get a good job, right? That's just they act like that's almost guaranteed, which talk to a lot of people that have graduated from college and realize that there's nothing guaranteed.
Yeah.
All it means go to college if you want, learn, but don't go under this pretense of like it's gonna guarantee me a good job.
Yeah. And it's funny now because just a couple years ago, my mom was always all about school. Like, there's no other option. You know, I'm not successful because I didn't go to school, so that's the only way. And then now I was just talking to her yesterday, and now she's saying, "Oh yeah, school's not for everybody." And I feel like it's almost like I'm the one that showed her like that's
absolutely,
the case, you know,
absolutely.
Before that, she would never have thought that way.
Yeah, was that a hard decision to quit school?
It was. I think I wasn't really too scared because I knew I could always go back.
Yeah.
You know, I got my license when I was 18, so I figured worst case scenario, I just go back. I'll still be young. But I remember at the time, I just was trying to convince my mom to let me just take 1 year off. I was like, what's the worst that could happen? Let me just do this for a year. Worst case scenario, I'll go back. And obviously I didn't have to, but I knew I wasn't going to go back, I would figure something else out.
Yeah.
But that's how I convinced my mom. Was
that uncomfortable having that conversation?
It was because I knew she didn't like it. Yeah. But I knew at the end of the day, no matter what she said, I was still going to do it. So I just had to convince her to just let me. I put it in a way of 1 year off.
Got it. So that was your original plan. Take a year off.
Yep.
Kind of try this thing out and see where you land.
Yeah.
Yeah. At what point, was it after the year? Was it a few months in where you realized, you know what, I'm not going back. I'm going to keep doing this?
I think like my first year, I didn't really do too well, but I figured that I made a decent amount. But the best part to me is I was doing it on my own. I was waking up at my own time, controlling my own schedule. Like I said, I didn't make too much, but I was just doing it all on my own. So I figured I could only get better from here. There's people that's been in the insurance industry for a very long time, and I just figured there's no way if I just keep doing this that I won't get better.
Gotcha. How long did it take for you to feel like you really understood the business and you had the sales process figured out?
Honestly, probably towards the end of last year when I started doing telesales, I was better at that. And then this year has definitely been a lot better for me. I just figured I'm way more confident now.
Yeah.
Like I know no matter what, I'm going to hit my goals that I set out.
Gotcha.
So it did take a while, but definitely towards the end of last year is when I got confident.
So you like telesales over in-home?
I do, yeah.
What was it like going in home? Because, I mean, you, like, no offense, you look very young. Like, you're how old?
21.
21.
Yep.
Like, dude, if I didn't know you, I'd be like, dude, you're probably 17, 18, right?
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of that in the home?
I did at first, but I just felt like no matter what, I would just show up smiling.
Yeah.
And I looked young, and I was just smiling. I looked like I was in a good mood, so I was just trying to be super friendly.
Yep.
And that usually worked out.
What's the craziest thing someone said to you about your age? Anything? Or
I remember I door knocked this one lady, and she's sitting on the couch watching TV. All I did was knock on the door, and she just told me to come in. She didn't even look at me. I sit down, and she thought I was her nurse or something. And I end up helping her out with the policy, but she thought I was her nurse. I had guys tell me that they thought I was selling them books from the high school. But after I started talking for a little bit, I mean, they didn't really care too much.
Right.
But they
Well, you didn't let it get to you either.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it, like, you obviously are not confused. You look younger than most people. It is what it is. Just embrace. And I think that's the beauty about what we do is if you can just kind of poke fun at yourself a little bit. Like, we had a kid who was, I forget his name, but similar age. He used to tell the clients that his mom dropped him off. Like, hey, I only got 20 minutes. My mom dropped me off. Like, just to be, but it's, stuff like that allows you to connect with clients,
Yeah.
What was the thing that you learned the most about people when you were going out in the field?
When I was going out in the field, I think I just realized that a lot of our clients were kind of in the same financial situations. They get their money on the first or third of the month, paycheck to paycheck, don't really have that much to live, but they know that if something happens to them, that like the funeral expenses, like they know that they need it.
Yeah.
So I think just going in home, I sat with like the same type of clients really.
A lot of final expense?
Mostly final expense. I still do all final expense now.
Okay.
I like that the most.
Really?
And that's what I know. I know I should get into some other stuff, but I just like final expense. It's always been pretty easy to me.
Yeah.
And I think me being young actually helps me out a little bit more, doing final expense. I just think they respond better to me. They know I'm young for some reason. I've had people tell me that I look like their grandsons and stuff.
That's a good thing, yeah.
It just works out that way.
Yeah. Have you had any death claims yet?
I've had a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the impact? Was one more impactful than the other, or?
I was just answering this earlier. I actually had one that I sat in home with in South Carolina.
Okay.
And I remember the guy he was diagnosed with cancer. So they were looking to get something for his cremation, and I ended up getting like AIG.
Yeah.
It had a 2-year waiting period, but I got the death claim, and it was like, I think like the 26th month or right outside the 2 years is when he filed the death claim. So it was able to get paid out. I think it was about $7,000 to the wife.
Yeah.
You know, almost triple what he put into the policy.
Yeah.
And it was able to help pay for the cremation and stuff.
Wow. So who called you, the wife?
Yeah, the wife. And then I got an email. Sometimes I've gotten a couple this year where I just get an email, and then I'm able to reach out to the client, and they actually tell me like, "Oh, I lost your car. Like, thanks so much for reaching out." So I really tried to do that.
What did you think, when you got the first one? Because, it's one thing for, yes, you're in the business, you hear stories. I could sit here and tell you about death claims, but it's different when you get your first one, right?
Yeah.
Especially being young, it's like the last thing you're thinking about is final expenses, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what was that like? Getting that first call or whatever from the client, or from the beneficiary? What was going through your mind?
It just showed me that how real this business is, and that, you can sit with somebody one day and something, God forbid, could happen to them, even like the next month or so.
Yeah.
So it just really put a perspective on me that like we're actually helping people. This is something that they need, and, every day is not promised. So.
Right. Did it change the way you approached your appointments or change what you did in the home at all?
I think it did. Because when I first started, I remember everyone was telling me, just write as much as you can. So I wasn't that good at, I think, following up with clients, say if they missed a payment.
Okay. Just focus on new policies.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this year I've really tried, writing stronger business, actually following up with clients, making sure it stays on the books. Because if you get them a policy and it cancels after 10 months, did you really help them out?
No.
Obviously you can't control it sometimes, but I really just try to make this important and try to really keep policies on the books because I know that they're going to need it when they pass.
Absolutely. Moving to Florida from Connecticut at, early 20s, big deal because you grew up here your whole life, right? A lot of friends. Like, what was the, outside of Sean saying, hey, someone, should move down here, what was the driving force to kind of get you away from this? Yeah,
well, I moved to North Carolina first with my grandparents, and I stayed there for about a year or so. But I think I just knew that if I stayed here, I probably wouldn't have the best discipline.
Okay.
I could be dialing and someone could text me at 1 p.m. like, hey, let's go do this. And I'd probably just close my computer and go.
Right.
So I think just for me, the best option was just to go somewhere where I didn't know anybody and all I could really do was focus on work.
Yeah. Very mature decision, Ethan.
Yeah.
But the thing is you are who you associate with.
Yep.
Right. So it's not a knock on any of these people, but it's funny that, when you're in school, you got all your friends, everyone's kind of here. And then once you graduate, it's like we have different ambitions, different goals. And what you're trying to do, a lot of people around you probably are not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make them bad people. It's just you are who you associate with. So if you don't remove yourself from those groups, like you said, eventually you're going to fall right back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you say, you'll be dialing, someone texts you, hey, let's go hang out. And then that becomes an everyday thing, and then your production suffers.
Yep.
And then what some people do, you wouldn't do this, but then they quit and they go online and blame us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you remember you weren't working? Remember you weren't dialing? You have to do those things.
Yeah.
How hard was that to manage? Because, only one real job prior to this. But your McDonald's, they tell you when to come in, they tell you what to do, they tell you when to leave, right? Like it's not a lot. It's not a very independent position, just like most jobs. Like you follow the schedule and that's it.
Yeah.
As long as you don't do that or don't kill anyone, you're good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But here it's like Sean's not going to call you up and go, Ethan, why aren't you working right now? Did you clock it? Like it's all on you.
Yeah.
How hard was that to adjust to for you in the beginning?
It definitely was hard because, like I said, I was just trying to figure it out on my own. I didn't reach out to anybody, so I just didn't know what the work looked like. I remember one time I was dialing, and it was like as soon as like 5:02 hit, I just put my phone down. I was done dialing. I remember I only had like 3 appointments, and Eric Schmidt ended up calling me. He's like, oh, how'd you do today? I was like, yeah, I got 3 appointments. I'm pretty much done. He's like, you're done? You only have 3 appointments. I was like, well, I dialed from 8 to 5. That's just kind of how I treated it, but I wasn't too good on the phone, so I didn't really book that many appointments.
Okay.
But eventually I just started dialing from like 8 a.m. sometimes till 8 p.m. because at that time I was only in the office 2 days. Every other day I was in the field. So when I committed to that and getting on Zoom with other people or getting in the office and dialing together, that's what really helped me, like, actually, you know, commit to a schedule for myself, because I was willing to sit there all day and dial and just try to book as many appointments as I could.
It's crazy, too, when you start doing that, you realize, like, the answer is not that deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this ain't rocket science, dude. We're calling people who fill out forms or reached out to us or clicked, you know, something online that, you know, mentioned life. Like, they expressed interest.
Exactly.
Your job is just to make that connection on the other end.
Yeah, and I really don't even think I'm that good at selling that much, but I'm just willing to have enough leads that I can sit down there and make enough dials that eventually someone's just going to pick up, and they're just simply just going to want it, or they might just like me and they'll get it. But I don't really push people that much. I know people really go into handling objections. People ask me all the time, oh, what do you say to this? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I'm not that good at handling objections. I just dial the phone enough to where I'm going to have enough people that just simply want it. Yeah. And they know what they're looking for.
Yep. What's your schedule like now?
Now, I work Monday through Friday, Saturday. Usually I start dialing around 9:30. Okay. And I'll usually take a break from, you know, around 12, 1, sometimes go to the gym, or if not, I'll go afterwards. And then usually I dial till about 7 p.m., 7:30, and that's pretty much Monday through Friday. And then Saturdays, I don't usually like calling people at 8 a.m. trying to sell them insurance on a Saturday, so I'll usually work from like 10 a.m. to 2, 3 p.m. But my goal really is if I can, you know, sell 1, even 2 a day, 6 days a week, you know, that's going to get me to where I want to be.
Gotcha. What's it like? Because, you know, you don't have kids, you're not married, right? You don't have a lot of expenses outside of what you're doing business-wise. Like, which is, I don't want to say abnormal, but it's not the most common situation for people who come to us, right? Most guys that come to us are, you know, a little bit older. They got baggage a lot of times, or they're in a situation where they need to get out of, they got debt, they have kids, whatever the case may be. Like, even I didn't have kids, but I was married with a home, couple cars in my early 20s, so like I had to make a certain amount of money. Like, especially when you first started, you didn't have to make, you know, a certain amount of money.
Exactly.
You didn't have a lot of bills, I would assume, at, you know, 19 years old. Yeah. How do you stay motivated when it's not the money that motivates you?
Yeah, I think, well, for me as well, not having so many bills gave me the confidence I needed to be able to invest more in my business and, like, leads and such, because I just figured, hey, I'm not spending this on a mortgage or anything. I might as well just put it into the business. So that gave me the confidence. And I think just realizing that it's not just about me. You know, one, I'm helping families, I'm helping clients, but also I'm bringing in enough income to be able to, you know, get my sister something if she wants, like, new school for shoes, new shoes for school. She's starting her senior year. Or my grandma, you know, send her money, or my mom help them out whenever they need it. So that kind of helps keep me going, because I know that my mom works hard and that my grandma, they worked hard. So it's like, if I'm just sitting around relaxing, I would almost feel guilty that I'm not doing this every day, trying to help my family as well. Yeah,
that's awesome, dude. Good stuff. How does your mom look at what you do now?
I don't think she doesn't ask me all that much. Whenever she asks, oh, how's work going, I just say good. You know, usually it's good. So she doesn't, I don't know if she knows everything about how it's going, but she knows I'm doing well enough to where I'm living not at home. Right. She's not paying for anything I have. So I think she just has an idea that I'm okay and I'm going to be fine.
And she's proud of you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I mean, I'm just watching. I remember when you started, and remember, I don't say you were distracted, but I can see the growth just talking to you now, and it's been cool to watch. So, dude, good stuff. Keep it up. Absolutely. You started in the home, then transitioned to telesales. Yep. What was that transition like for you?
It was hard at first because in-home was all I knew, and so just I didn't really think I could do it at first. I remember telling people, hey, I really want to start doing telesales, but that's it. That's all it was. I was just all talk. I never actually committed to it.
So how long did you talk about it before you even tried?
Honestly, probably about like 2 or 3 months. I was like, man, the in-home, I really just want to do telesales. But I was just comfortable doing in-home because that's what I did. But once I finally made the commitment to just, hey, instead of trying to call people and book appointments, let me just see if they're ready to do this now. And then it took a few months, or maybe like 1 month doing full telesales. I realized I got the hang of it pretty quickly, and I think I was selling about the same, if not a little bit more, and then not driving around, being in the office all day. So the transition for me wasn't too hard once I actually started doing it and not just talking about it. Yeah. And then now I only do telesales, and I prefer it that way.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers obviously speak for themselves. You're at, I think it's about 184
Yep.
as of the second week of August.
Yep.
And then you did, what was it, 2 and change last year?
Yeah, exactly. So by the end of this month, I'll be a little bit over 200.
Yeah.
And my goal is to finish at least 300 for the year.
Yeah.
If I really want to lock in and hit it hard, I think I'd have to do, help 50 families for the last 4 months to hit Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That I could probably try to do that.
Yeah.
But if I do over 300 this year, I'll be happy because I'll get another award, and I'll do more than I did last year.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. How big is we touched on this a little bit, but the association, like once you moved away from here, again, not, friends are friends, it is what it, but
Yep.
once you separated yourself from that circle you grew up with, now you're associating with people that are like-minded, similar goals, right? What some of them you're trying to do what they're doing or vice versa. How much has that kind of helped your mindset?
Yeah, I think it's really good because I try to surround myself, because Sean always said, never complain. Don't surround yourself with negative people.
Mm-hmm.
If people are calling you up being negative, just tell them, like, dude, you got to go or something. Like,
Right.
Don't entertain it. So I think that's really big, just staying around positive people because, if everyone I'm talking to is just positive, then it's just going to reflect on me.
Yeah.
And I truly believe, like they always say, attitude and activity. But, when I wake up positive, I say, like, hey, I'm manifest. Hey, I'm going to help 2 families today. Hey, I'm going to help 3 families today. Somehow, some way, it always just ends up working out.
Right.
And I just feel like if I'm having positive energy on the phone, it just attracts that right back to me.
Yeah,
So
no doubt. Have you ever thought about quitting?
I think I have
Yeah.
at first, but I just didn't know what else I would do.
Okay.
I thought about it, but then it's like, well, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I know I won't quit because the only way this wouldn't work is if you don't work.
Right.
And that's really the only way.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think back to, like, I mean, you always, for me, it was always, what was I doing prior, right? So I was in construction, and when I left construction, the market was it was tanking. Like, it was 2007, market crashed. So I always look back like that was my other option, which I can't go back to, right? Do you look like, dude, I was working at McDonald's prior to this. Like, it's does that motivate you at all?
It does.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, if I didn't do this, I'd probably have to find a job somewhere. And just the thought of that is just not really, I don't really like the thought of that. I feel like I know what a good month is here, and even a good week or a good day. And just if I had to go back to something else, I just know I wouldn't really be that happy.
Right. You went to both cruises, right? You sold enough. I was talking to Sean. He's like, dude, when Ethan's motivated, he sells a lot. Because I was asking about it. He's like, well, the months for the cruise, he sold a shit ton of life insurance. So you went to the first one last year.
I did,
right?
yep.
What was that like?
It was awesome. I was able to take my family. They've never been on a cruise.
Oh, you took your family with you?
Yeah, so
Nice.
I took my mom because I qualified to get an extra room. So I took my mom, my stepdad, and my sister on the cruise.
That's cool.
And it was awesome. But, yeah, it's funny, as Sean says, because I think last year, like, almost half my production was in the 3 cruise months. So Sean always jokes, like, we need to do a cruise every 3 months. So
you'll be top of the leaderboard. We do more. So you went to the first one, loved it, and then when you heard about the second one, how motivated were you to get back there?
Yeah, I knew, because I think towards the end of last year, I kind of slowed down a little bit. I didn't have the best finish to the year.
Okay.
So, and then even January, I didn't really have that good month of a January. I think I was more just down, negative mindset. But then after having convention, obviously boosts you back up. And then the cruise came out again. So I'm like, you know what, I got to hit this. And then after those 3 months for the cruise, I've been pretty consistent since. And I'm definitely back in the flow and doing better.
So you said you're in a little bit of a negative mindset before convention. Yep. Why? What happened?
I just think I didn't finish the year strong. Part of it is also, holidays. I'm spending time with the family, not really, dialing too much. And then I almost started thinking, like, man, am I still able to do this? Did I lose my magic? And then convention, just hearing speakers. I almost wasn't going to go to convention, I think. I had a thought in my mind, man, maybe I won't go this year.
Why? Because of the results you were getting then? You felt like you didn't want to go, you shouldn't be there, or what?
I think this was my third one, so I was just like, man, it's just going to be the same as last year.
I already heard it. I'm good.
I'll just dial instead. But no, leaving convention, it was great because obviously just getting around other people that you're working with, especially doing telesales, it can be lonely. You're just doing it by yourself. But just getting back in that environment really got my confidence back, and listening to the speakers and everything helped me get a better mindset going into the end of February and just going, getting off to a strong start.
Do you think if you would have skipped out on convention, you still would have made it to the cruise?
No, I don't think so. Just because I really needed convention, and not even just convention, but just getting into Airbnb with a bunch of agents that I work with. And, we're staying up late talking about phone scripts and what's working for them. And I just think that really helped me get the juice back and just get going.
That's awesome. What was your biggest takeaway from convention, the biggest thing you learned?
I just think there was a lot of good speakers, just positive mindset. That's what almost everyone preaches, and just attitude, activity, and just working hard no matter what, really. Just keep going no matter if it's tough or not. You just got to keep going. So
you went to 3 conventions? Yeah. So you were at the 2 at the stadium.
Yep.
And then this one at the convention. Yeah. How much better was it at the convention center? Like, did you like that kind of more closeness versus the, giant stadium?
Yeah, I did, because I feel like at the giant stadium, everyone's kind of spaced out, doing their own thing at the concession stands or just walking around in the big, circle area. But just being back at a convention center, everyone's sitting in the same room. No one was really walking around too much. There wasn't really much to do outside of the convention room. So I feel like that was definitely a better experience.
Yeah. So you registered for the next one?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. You are. Awesome.
I'll be going.
Guys, go to fflconvention.com. Get registered now. Yeah, do that. Thing's going to be packed. We're working on another big keynote. We got Eric Thomas already, a pop preacher. We got Tim Grover, guy who trained Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So quite a lineup. We're still working on some more. So good stuff. Looking back now, from where you came to where you're at now, short period of time, right? Really a few years. Now, I know when you're younger, a few years feel like, I have young kids. My daughter's 8. Like a year feels like 10 years for her. I mean, I'm 38, so a year feels like about a month. But where do you see, like, what is your goal over the next 2-3 years? Like right now, you're just selling. You recruiting it all now?
A little bit now. I have a few agents, but mostly just selling.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But some of my goals are just to get really consistent, try to hit Hall of Fame at least, because the cruise qualifications is Hall of Fame production.
Yeah, if you kept it up,
So I know that if I can do that for 3 months, I can do that for the whole year.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely one of my goals. And also start bringing on some agents. Now that I feel like I have a good grasp of this, I can definitely duplicate that. So I feel like even if I can help, 4 or 5 people, just do what I'm doing and help change their life, I know it'll benefit from all of us.
Absolutely. Any regrets?
Any regrets, you said?
Yeah.
I think maybe just the first year trying to do this all on my own.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be a lot further than I am now if that first year I was asking for help, reaching out to other agents.
Why weren't you?
I don't know. I usually kept to myself, and I also didn't really know many people in this business,
Yeah.
All I really knew was Sean when I first got introduced, and obviously I wasn't going to call him every day and ask him stuff. So he would, get me in contact with other agents, and, I'd talk to him in the beginning and then never really reach out again. I really don't know why, because I realized that there are people in this business that do want to help you.
Absolutely.
And will do it no matter what. So that would be my biggest regret, is just trying to figure this out on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always hard with regrets, because I hear that, but that's probably also why you are where you are now, right? Because you went through that, and maybe just had to learn that.
Yep.
But it is cool to see what you do. Even doing here, talking to you now. Like I remember the first one, we really couldn't get you to talk. And it's cool how this business will mature you.
Yeah, definitely.
If you do it the right way. So 184 so far this year. Your goal is 300.
Yeah.
And what are you on? Are you on track now, like at this pace, or are you gonna have to increase to get there?
No, I'm definitely on track.
Yeah.
As long as I'm doing what I'm doing now, I'll hit it. I think the math came out to like 25 families each month.
Okay.
I know if I can do fit. I've never helped fit. I think the most families I helped with in a month was like 47 or 48.
Okay.
But I know if I did 50 families each month, the last 4 months, I would hit Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So why not?
Yeah, I want to try that. But I know my goal originally was to do about 300 families, because that was more than I've ever done.
Gotcha. What are you going to do about because you said last year the holidays kind of messed you up.
Yeah.
How are you going to navigate that this year?
I really don't know.
Okay.
You know, I do like spending time with family.
Yeah.
You know, if I go see my grandparents in North Carolina and stay, I don't want to just be in the room dialing all day. You know, I want
Right.
to spend time with them. So I just think really just focusing and maybe in the mornings, you know, have a strong, good dial session in the morning. Because I feel like a lot of times, you know, I could spend all day dialing, but I might be, you know, going on my phone here for a couple minutes, you know, watching this YouTube video,
Right.
scrolling through Instagram Reels and
Yep.
stuff like that, which can really, you know, take a lot of time away from
Yeah, you're
dialing.
that generation of iPad kids, dude.
Yeah.
It's hard to fight.
Exactly. I have to delete apps,
Yep.
you know, because it's just kind of hard.
So here's what we used to do. It was different. We were in the field, but like when let's say we had a trip coming up, we would do double the production the week before. So this would be my advice for you. Holidays come. Enjoy the time with your family. Just the week before, work twice as hard.
Yeah.
Do
definitely.
twice the production so that when you are there for that week, you're not thinking, oh, shit, I didn't sell anything, or I got this chargeback coming, I got to write a policy. Ramp up before, and then when you go back, ramp up that week when you go back. So just kind of do double on both ends. That's my best advice for you for these holidays. So
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely does.
yeah, I mean it is get creative, but that's what we've always done with trips and stuff when you're taking some time off, and that it goes back to that statement earlier. This is on you, right? You don't have a boss that's gonna come down and go, Ethan, you're gonna take some time off. You should do this. It's on you.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you do it, great. If you don't, then you screw it up for yourself. And that's one of the things I've always loved about this is whether I do well or I don't, it's all on me.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't blame – well, you could if you want, but you can't blame Sean. You can't blame the leads. You can't blame me. You can't blame anyone else. If you don't go out and get the results that you wanted to or you don't go hit your goal, then you did something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's humbling too, right? Like, I mean, did you expect to have more success your first year, or was that a little humbling for you or no?
I thought I would do better.
Yeah.
But what was really humbling to me was because I remember I was starting at 18, 19, and I just remember seeing like a couple 19-year-old agents that were doing way more than me. And I was just like, wow, like I got to be doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like why am I not doing that? You know, like what are these guys doing that I'm not, you know? So I think that was humbling for me just because at first I was like, you know, I'm young, whatever. You know, most people are doing this are older than me.
Right.
But then when I would see the Facebook post of someone my age that's killing it, I'm like, okay, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
So
Did it motivate you?
yeah, it definitely motivated me just to because if someone else is my age doing this, then there's no reason that I can't. Or even if someone's older than me, because like you said, it's all on yourself. So no matter if you do good or bad, it's all because of you. Absolutely.
And I will say this, though. I say this all the time. This is not for everyone.
Yeah.
So the fact that, you know how many 18, 19-year-olds I've met over the years that are going to kill it. They're going to do not even just whatever age. Everyone's going to come in and do everything until it's time to actually do it.
Yeah.
It's like that whole, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yep.
And here getting punched in the face is dialing on leads and you don't get an appointment.
Exactly.
Going out and meeting with clients and they're not there, or you don't close, or maybe you write it and it gets canceled. Like that's our version of punch in the face.
Yeah.
It ain't that bad.
No.
It could be though if if you're negative.
Exactly.
Right? You could live in that space where no one's buying, no one's picking up the phone. I love that. I would dial him, Mike, but nobody's picking up the phone. Like nobody, really? It's like I'm talking to my 12-year-old daughter. Daddy, everybody's doing this. Like, you mean you and your 3 friends?
Yeah.
That's everybody. But it's all this.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you maintain a positive mindset, day in and day out? Because every day's not perfect, right? I mean, you've been doing this for 3 years. You still go out, call clients up and don't close, right?
Yeah.
You still get people hang up on you. You still get chargebacks, right? You haven't mastered all that.
Yeah, no.
How do you stay positive day in and day out?
I think it's just realizing that just looking at the good days. I know there's days where I might make my first 3 calls and I'll sell 2 of them in the morning, and just knowing that that's possible and that all it takes is just one person to pick up that wants insurance just helps me have a positive mindset, because I know, and having enough leads as well. If I have enough leads to call, I know that eventually it could be anything you're selling. Just someone's going to pick up and they just want it, and you just get a nice little lay down or lay up, help out a family.
Right.
So I think that, and just surrounding myself with other individuals. But even now, everyone has those times where you're feeling more down.
Sure.
Like, I'm doing the same thing and it's not working now. I never really switched it up either. Like if I didn't do well, I didn't think, let me switch everything up. I just kept doing what I'm normally doing every time, and I just know it always finds a way to work out.
Yeah. You play a lot of sports growing up?
Yeah, I played Little League baseball,
Yeah.
basketball. I ran track for 1 year.
You think that helped you at all here, mindset-wise?
I think so, just because, you're practicing every day and you don't see results right away. You could be doing the same thing every day and still not get better. I mean, still not see results, but just working at it every day, you're working towards something, and you just have in this business, you just have the opportunity to just grow and get better each day, that there's no way you can fail as long as you just work at it.
Yeah.
Keep positive attitude and activity.
Absolutely. If you could go back 3 years, what would you say to Ethan McKinney before he got started in this business?
I would just tell myself, hey, like, you're doing the right thing. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate things. Just keep doing what you originally. Just stick with your gut and just don't stop. Pretty much.
Gotcha. Well, dude, I'm proud of what you've done. Keep kicking ass. It's been cool to watch. And again, we don't, I hear everyone says they're going to take over. Everyone's going to do this. And everyone has a guy who's going to take over the world. And the amount of times that actually happens is slim to none.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see your progression from, I remember, again, interviewing you here on the old white tables where we had none of this fancy shit, and seeing what you're doing now. So, dude, it's been awesome to watch. Yeah. Keep kicking ass.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Guys, hit subscribe button, like this, share this if you haven't already. Where can they follow you on social media?
Just my Instagram. It's just I'm really not too active on there. I should be, but
well, I'm putting you on the spot now. You need to be.
But my Instagram is just Ethan McKinney with 2 Y's at the end.
Gotcha.
And you can follow me there. That's pretty much all I have.
All right.
I do have Facebook, but I usually don't use it that much.
Cool.
So mostly Instagram.
Sounds good. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming up doing this. I really do. Guys, thanks for watching. You know where to find us every week right here on True Talk. We'll see you next week.